In a world marked by turmoil and change, today's most impactful stories range from escalating conflicts to significant scientific breakthroughs. A new geopolitical crisis emerges, while economies grapple with instability. Here are today's top 10 stories you need to know. In the latest developments from Eastern Europe, tensions have escalated significantly as military exercises near the borders of Ukraine have raised alarms across NATO countries. Reports indicate that an influx of troops and heavy artillery has been observed, prompting urgent discussions among NATO allies regarding collective defense strategies. This situation bears striking similarities to previous conflicts in the region, where military posturing often precedes actual confrontations. The historical context reveals a pattern of aggression that has left many nations wary of the potential for conflict. The implications of these maneuvers are profound, potentially destabilizing the already fragile security landscape in Eastern Europe. Diplomatic channels are reportedly being utilized to de-escalate the situation, yet skepticism remains high, particularly given the recent rhetoric from both sides. Each has issued stern warnings to the other, raising concerns of an inadvertent escalation into conflict. Analysts emphasize that the international community must remain vigilant and engaged, as the consequences of inaction could be dire, impacting not only regional stability but also global security dynamics. As NATO conducts emergency meetings to formulate a cohesive response, the focus will be on deterrent measures and diplomatic solutions. The coming days will be critical, as the actions taken now will determine whether Eastern Europe can navigate this precarious situation without descending into a broader military confrontation. A powerful earthquake with a magnitude of 7.1 struck near the coast of Japan today, causing widespread panic and damage. The epicenter was located off the coast of Honshu, leading to tsunami warnings along the eastern coastline. Japan, situated in the Pacific Ring of Fire, is no stranger to seismic activity, having experienced numerous earthquakes and tsunamis throughout its history. Fortunately, the government had prepared extensively for such an event, implementing rigorous building codes and disaster response drills. Many residents were alerted in time to evacuate to higher ground, showcasing the effectiveness of these preparedness measures. Despite these efforts, initial reports indicate significant structural damage in coastal towns, with emergency services deployed to assess the situation. The impact on local infrastructure, including transportation and utilities, is still being evaluated, with some areas experiencing power outages and disrupted communications. Authorities are urging citizens to remain calm and follow safety protocols as aftershocks are expected. International aid offers have begun to pour in, showcasing global solidarity in times of crisis. As rescue and recovery efforts ramp up, the focus will turn to rebuilding communities and ensuring the safety and well-being of those affected by this devastating natural disaster. In a significant move, the United States has announced a new round of sanctions targeting Iran's oil exports amid ongoing tensions over its nuclear program. This decision follows a series of diplomatic efforts that have failed to yield desired results, including attempts to revive the 2015 nuclear deal. The sanctions are expected to further cripple Iran's already struggling economy, which relies heavily on oil revenue, contributing to inflation and unemployment. Analysts predict that this will exacerbate the humanitarian crisis in the country, impacting millions of ordinary citizens who are caught in the crossfire of international politics and facing shortages of essential goods. Critics of the sanctions argue that they disproportionately harm the civilian population rather than the government, potentially fueling dissent against the regime. The Iranian government has vowed to retaliate against these measures, promising to take steps to safeguard its interests and assert its regional influence. International reactions have been mixed, with some countries supporting the U.S. stance, while others caution against escalating tensions. As the situation evolves, the focus will shift to Iran's forthcoming responses and their implications for broader Middle Eastern stability. Southern Europe is currently experiencing record-breaking heat waves, with temperatures soaring to unprecedented levels, exceeding 45 degrees Celsius in some regions. This extreme weather event has raised significant concerns about public health and safety, particularly for vulnerable populations, including the elderly and those with pre-existing health conditions. Authorities in several countries, including Spain and Italy, have issued heat alerts, advising citizens to stay indoors during peak hours and prioritize hydration. The agricultural sector is also feeling the strain, with reports of severe crop damage and reduced yields, threatening food security in the region. Environmentalists warn that these heat waves are a direct consequence of a broader climate crisis, which is increasingly disrupting weather patterns across the globe. This alarming situation has prompted urgent discussions about the necessity for more robust climate policies and preparedness strategies to mitigate future risks. As the heat persists, the focus will shift to emergency response measures and sustainable practices, with an emphasis on investing in renewable energy and enhancing urban infrastructure to better cope with extreme temperatures. Brazil is facing a deepening political crisis as protests erupt across the country against the government's handling of the economy and environmental policies. Citizens are voicing their frustration over rising inflation, which has reached levels not seen in years, and alarming deforestation rates in the Amazon rainforest, a critical global resource. This unrest has prompted calls for accountability and reform, with opposition parties gaining traction among disillusioned voters who feel their concerns are being ignored. The government has responded with a mix of promises for reforms and crackdowns on dissent, leading to further discontent among the populace. Analysts suggest that this crisis poses significant risks to Brazil's political stability and its role in global environmental discussions. Moreover, the economic implications could hinder foreign investment, which is crucial for recovery. As the protests continue, the government faces increased pressure to implement meaningful change. The coming weeks will be pivotal as Brazil's leaders must strike a balance between responding to public demands and maintaining order, determining the nation's future trajectory. Global supply chain disruptions continue to plague economies worldwide, as the ripple effects of earlier pandemic-related shutdowns are still being felt. These disruptions have significantly affected industries ranging from technology to food production, creating a domino effect of delays and shortages. As a result, consumers are facing increased prices, with inflationary pressures becoming a critical concern for households. Companies are scrambling to adapt to these challenges by diversifying their supply sources and investing in local production capabilities to reduce dependency on distant suppliers. This situation has prompted governments to reassess their trade policies and bolster domestic industries in an effort to enhance resilience. The impact on daily life is becoming increasingly apparent, with many consumers struggling to find essential goods. Experts warn that without significant changes in logistics and international cooperation, these supply chain issues may persist for the foreseeable future. In the coming months, stakeholders across various sectors must collaborate to develop innovative solutions that stabilize supply chains and prevent further disruptions. China's economy is showing signs of slowing growth, raising concerns among global investors. Recent data indicates that manufacturing and export sectors are underperforming, with industrial output growth hitting its lowest level in years. This downturn raises questions about the long-term health of the Chinese market, which has been a significant driver of global economic expansion. The government is reportedly considering stimulus measures, such as infrastructure investments and tax cuts, to invigorate the economy and prevent a sharper decline. Analysts warn that a slowdown in China could have profound implications for the global economy, affecting commodity prices and supply chains, given its status as a major trading partner. As businesses brace for potential impacts, markets around the world are reacting with caution, reflecting heightened uncertainty. Investors are keeping a close eye on China's economic policies and their potential effects on international trade. In the coming weeks, the focus will be on how the Chinese government navigates these challenges to restore confidence and stimulate growth effectively. India is grappling with a healthcare crisis as hospitals struggle to accommodate the rising number of patients amid a surge in viral infections. The public health system is under immense pressure, with reports of overcrowded facilities and shortages of essential medical supplies. This situation has raised alarms among health officials, prompting calls for urgent action to bolster healthcare infrastructure. The government is mobilizing resources and seeking international assistance to address the crisis. As citizens face mounting health challenges, the focus will be on ensuring access to care and improving the overall resilience of the healthcare system. The international community is closely monitoring the situation, with hopes that swift action can mitigate the growing humanitarian impact. As the situation evolves, the need for a comprehensive response is paramount to safeguard public health. Tensions are rising in the South China Sea as military activities increase in the disputed waters. Recent reports indicate that naval vessels from multiple countries are operating in close proximity, raising concerns over potential confrontations. The situation is further complicated by ongoing territorial disputes and claims from various nations in the region. Analysts warn that any miscalculation could lead to serious consequences, not just for the countries involved, but for regional stability as a whole. Diplomatic efforts are needed to address these tensions and find peaceful resolutions to the ongoing disputes. The international community is watching closely, with hopes that dialogue can prevail over conflict. In the coming days, expect to see increased diplomatic activity as stakeholders seek to de-escalate the situation. A significant cybersecurity breach has affected a major corporation, leading to the exposure of sensitive customer data. The company is currently investigating the extent of the breach and implementing measures to enhance security protocols. This incident has raised alarms about the increasing frequency of cyber attacks on businesses, which have become a prevalent issue in today's digital landscape. Experts emphasize the importance of robust cybersecurity measures to protect sensitive information in an era where data breaches are becoming more common. As the investigation unfolds, affected customers are advised to monitor their accounts and change passwords to safeguard against potential fraud. The company is committed to transparency throughout the process, promising to keep stakeholders informed of any developments. Moving forward, the focus will be on strengthening cybersecurity defenses to prevent future incidents. Thank you for joining us for today's news recap. Which story shocked you the most? Don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.